Welcome to Season 3 of Titanic Talk. Nelson Aspen and Alexandra Boyd launch once again onto the digital airwaves with some very special event episodes. Here we feature stories from the independent documentary Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries, and continue to explore all aspects of the iconic ship. From James Cameron's epic, groundbreaking movie to the history and legacy of Titanic herself. Actors, historians, authors, descendants and fans come here to talk about Titanic. This is your first-class ticket to everything aboard the Ship of Dreams. Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries is distributed in the US by Freestyle Digital Media. It's now available to rent or own on Apple TV, Amazon, and many other platforms. Please be sure to like and leave a review.
Just when you thought it was over, we're back. Yeah, this is episode 1, season 3 of Titanic Talk, the podcast companion to Alexandra Boyd's film Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries. And that's why we're here today, because we have some big, exciting news to discuss further. You know her, you love her, my co-host, Alexandra Boyd.
Nelson Aspen, award-winning broadcast journalist. Yeah, we kind of thought we were done, didn't we? We thought 48 episodes, couple of top and tail chats from us, some amazing guests, actors, experts, explorers, authors, historians, descendants. How many more chats can we have?
Well, because Titanic is always in the news, even in the surreal aspect of the current the Senate confirmation hearings. I can't tell you how many times I've noticed the phrase, even rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I mean, in every aspect of life, Titanic comes up, from the sublime to the ridiculous. And you got some really fascinating statistics about our viewership, even while we have been on hiatus.
Yes.
Elaborate on that.
Well, I think because we're so immediate in the moment, and this is news, this is new, we think, we have to look at who was listening this week. No, we're getting people finding us from all over the globe. And right now, as it stands on Buzzsprout, which is where we post the podcast, there's been something like 15,500 downloads of us talking, Nelson. It's our dream come true. And then
and my parents used to say, stop talking. Stop talking.
No, I still get told that. You talk way too much. Do you have to mention everything that comes into your head? Well, yes, of course. And then there's Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Play and all the other places where you can find us, which are lesser numbers, but they still add up. And we are just so appreciative of everyone tuning in as they.
Well, indeed. I had some just earlier today. In fact, I had a young whippersnapper who wants to be my intern. And when I say young whippersnapper, I mean 20. And and fair enough. Like there is a generation gap. I don't know how to do certain newfangled things. But she said, I said, have you been paying attention to Titanic Talk? And she goes, yes, but the audio only. People want to see things. And I'm thinking, hello, YouTube. You have the YouTube option as well. So it is fascinating. And in addition
we were on trend, we were on point and didn't even know it.
We didn't even know it. Well, I'm a TV person. So like the podcast thing, I like to see. You've talked before about how you like to listen to things while you're cooking or doing other things. I'm much more of a visual person, so I appreciate the YouTube versions as well.
I also want people to know that if they hear snoring and they're watching, they can see that it's this little pug. It's not me making funny noises. And there's one over there as well. So I can hear them in the background and sometimes in the foreground. So that's a visual for you.
Well, we should actually probably capitalize on the cute, adorable pugs more. We'd get more hits from the animal lovers.
Yeah.
But you talk about the people that we've met and the vast range of interviews that we have had as well. But the audience has become part of our circle as well. We have made friends of listeners. We have had listeners who have become guests. And we have this expanded community over the last, how long has it been? Has it been 2 years?
Yes, 2 years, like April 2023. So coming up on, yes. And I think that unexpected the sum of its parts is great. The number is total is greater than the sum of its parts, because I set out to make a film that documented a documentary about my time and my colleagues, my fellow actors' time on James Cameron's Titanic, because it was such an extraordinary experience. And then I wanted to speak to Titanic fans, real dyed-in-the-wool fans, like what is it about this film and this subject and the history and this ship? And so that was that part. But I never expected to meet all these amazing other people as well, who've just become as important to me as the actors and the fans in the film, because it just, the ripple effect is in it's crazy. It's amazing and wonderful.
Your documentary has a sequel in this podcast. The podcast was conceived to support the documentary, and yet the podcast has actually become a sequel to your documentary. And it is that documentary that propelled us to launch a third season of Titanic Talk, because you have some timely and exciting news. We're recording this in February of 2025. And what's happening, Alexandra?
Well, we are launching the documentary onto the US market. So right now, if you're listening right now, and it's before February the 11th, 2025, you will be able to pre-order it on Apple TV. And then on the 11th, it will get launched in all sorts of places. I'm going to list them very quickly because some people, subscribe to this, that, or the other. So the cable and satellite companies are Uverse, DirecTV, Dish Network, and Sling TV, In Demand, and Ubiquity. And then libraries can find it, and colleges and hospitals, which, as you know, close to my heart, is film schools and drama schools should be watching this about process, about film history and actors and filmmakers process. And then on Amazon and Apple TV, I've already mentioned Fandango. I love that word. Microsoft, Xbox, Google Play, YouTube Movies, and also, drum roll, please, you'll be able to order a DVD of it on Amazon. What?
And where there are DVDs, just get your Sharpies ready, because you'll be signing DVDs before you know it. We've been talking about the film. Those of us that have been fortunate either to be in it and or to have seen it, explain, as a filmmaker in the film industry, why it takes so long. You think to yourself, here's our film. It looks so great. It's finished. Why has it taken so long for us to get it available to the masses?
Well, because it just does. And a lot of it is money. So you start off with a little bit of money, and I'm talking about independent films. So you have a great idea and you go to your family and friends and you maybe put a bit of your own cash in to just get the ball rolling. And then you get to another point where you need a little bit more money, but you've got something to show. So you show a rough cut and somebody puts in a little bit more money. And then you spend quite a long time editing and nipping and tucking and doing the music and and in a documentary you need B-roll as well, which is all the little cutaways. You can't just have people sitting in a chair talking. You need to visually show what they're chatting about. So all of that gathering takes a long time, and then you've got a beautiful finished film, and you premiere at a film festival, which we did at the Valley Film Festival in LA, and a sales agent finds you and said, we can take this to the markets and find you homes for the film in different territories. So US is a territory, Europe is a territory, UK, Ireland, Australia, all those places. But they go around for a year and many people have heard of the Berlin Film Festival, Cannes, Toronto, AFM, which is the American film market, and they're selling your film. Then they sell your film, you get a distributor, and then you have to go through all the quality control. So actually, each little win along the way, each little hurdle can be sometimes 6 months apart. It's interesting. I just watched a National Geographic documentary about the discovery of
the Endurance,
which was Ernest Shackleton's ship that sank between the ice. And it's the parallels to Finding Titanic are all there, but they're all wearing masks at the beginning of the film, and then as the time goes on, not where, because it started during COVID and then it's taken this long to reach audiences. Same with us. We started our first interviews in 2022 in Los Angeles, and the crew, we were all wearing masks. So that's how long it takes. And we are so, and also I'd like to add that so few films honestly ever do get sold and do get found, especially independent films. And you're really lucky if you make your money back. So I am super grateful to all of my investors and people who had faith in me as a storyteller to give me a little bit of cash and get us to this point, which really is the goal, and to show it to everybody, because it's I'm so proud to be able to pay tribute to James Cameron, to the film, to the ship, and have a sense of achievement myself as a filmmaker, because I started out as an actress, just a little old actress, little old walk-on, parts, guest star roles, actress, and now look at now.
And those of us involved in whatever ways, large or small, in the creation of your documentary, have witnessed firsthand how hard you've worked, how much of your blood, sweat, and tears you've put into it, and it's such a wonderful piece of art that is filled with so many wonderful artistic characters, and now we get to share that with everybody, and we get to see Zach and Judy and Ellen and I mean Mark Capri. I mean the list goes on and on, because we are this family, and now I think you can't control it anyway, but now that we have this extended family through the podcast, they're part of the documentary as well. So yay, they can finally see it, and that will be a future episode. We'll get a lot of our Titaniac family together to review the film and talk about the film from their point of view. They're sick of hearing about our point of view, but now we'll get to hear their point of view as well.
Well, and I think what comes across in the film is their response to reading these diaries they wrote so long ago, that they'd not given a second thought to in 25 years. And I was very clear that I didn't want them rehearsing their reading, because actors, they have to be good at cold reading, but I wanted them to really cold read. And it brought back memories that had been long forgotten, and feelings and emotions and laughter and sadness and tragedy. I mean, it's all there.
I'm so touched. I always think about Rebecca Klingler in the film and her moment when she rereads her diary. Now, for those who may have not heard our podcast before today, give us the elevator pitch of what your documentary is.
It's supporting actors cast by James Cameron in Titanic, revisiting diaries that I got them to write right after it won all the Oscars, and also dovetailed with these amazing super fans who have turned their passion for a story and a film into art and collections of props and memorabilia and costumes. And really something that I've never seen before. And I'm trying to answer why this ship, and I failed. I don't know why. And I've also decided that it doesn't matter, because the legacy and the memory of Titanic will go on forever, just like my heart.
And it spawned interesting projects and events for us. I'm thinking about, we made friendships with guests like Pablo Ohana and Stephen Schwenkert and L.A. Reid Beatles, and actually going out and doing social activities, going to see the play together in Brooklyn.
Oh, Michael's Day, yes.
Of our gifted Titanic guest, and to do these things and have friendships and we all live very far away. You're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. Our friends are all peppered around the world, and yet we are connected thanks to our mutual enjoyment of all things Titanic.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's extraordinary. And I never could have predicted exactly what you're talking about. It's just lovely. And I expect another level to come to us now that the film really is available. And for anybody listening who's not in the States, UK, Ireland will happen, and Europe will happen. You know, it's once you've sold in one place, it's much easier to sell elsewhere. So you know, just be a little bit more patient if you're not in the US.
I wonder if we'll ever have a Titanic wedding or baby. Like if you know, maybe that'll be the next thing. Two of our Titaniacs will meet and fall in love, one can fantasize. What happens now? Okay, so here it is. It's available to stream this way. What's the expectation or your desire for the life of it beyond the next 6 months?
Well, I sort of touched on it before, that I really feel like this is it's educational as well. I remember when I was at drama school, we all were like, I'm going to be a big TV star, or a big, not movie star so much in those days, because it was very much lent towards theatre, acting and so forth. I just got very lucky that I ended up in Los Angeles and was able to get film jobs. But I think a lot of young people, over the last 30 years or so, you've got the X Factor and all of these immediate fame shows that give a false impression of what it is to be an artist, a performing artist, whether it's a singer, an actor, a musician, or whatever. And for the reality of the vast majority of equity holders and Screen Actors Guild Union card holders, the job that we all did on Titanic is the kind of job you're going to be getting. And you hope you make enough money during the year to qualify for your health insurance. You have a quota of income before you qualify for your health insurance. And very few people meet that criterion. And so I'm not putting a damper on it. I'm saying, look, just keep working, keep going. And even those small jobs, like, we never expected that small job to be such a huge thing at the time, and enjoy that process. And if you're constantly going, well, I need to be a movie star, I need to be a multimillionaire, the likelihood is this. And like I said, I don't want to put a damper on it, because I love celebrating talented people and young people coming up and getting fantastic opportunities. But there's something about, I did another film for a very dear friend of mine who's a voice and acting coach. We shot her masterclass, and at the end of the 3 days, and she's amazing. I mean, she's transformative to big movie stars going from film to theater, or theater to film, or whatever. And she was using her technique, to talking about it and giving exercises and stuff. And one of the young camera operators pulled me aside at the end. He said, this is fascinating. I never knew what actors did. I kept forgetting to do my job because I was just so drawn by what she was talking about process. And there's quite a bit of that in my documentary, because we talked to the casting director, Emily Schweber, who was associate to Mally Finn. And she talks in great detail about how Mally would get us to, there's no lines, or there's just one line. Just go away and have a think about what this person's life would have been like, that you never see or show on camera, but it's all there inside. And again, the sum of the whole is so much greater than, you think of every single actor going through that process, and then you end up with a spectacular film like Titanic. I know Kate had her 3-ring binder of her script with notes all scribbled all over it, and Leo would forget to bring his script set and not remember his lines, but he's changed all that. He's amazing to me now. I think I never saw that in 1996, but he's quite an extraordinary actor.
and the things that it has spawned for the cast and crew, and the things that they have gone on to achieve and produce, and also we should say through the podcast as well. When the submersible Titan tragically imploded on its dive to the wreck, suddenly that became the topic of conversation. And what we weren't just talking about James Cameron's film. Now we were talking about the Titanic as a what is it, adventure tourism, and the perils of adventure tourism. And I know I was called upon to do that in the media, and I found myself on television and radio and speaking about the Titanic in that perspective. So we've become de facto Titanic experts. And
well, you certainly are a history expert in that respect, and I can share my expertise as far as the 2 months I spent on that set, but also the prior, all the research I did. I just loved it. Thank you. Starting with your shelf full of videos and books,
Well, that's in the documentary, and
yes.
One of the key components for how Alexandra and I met 40 years ago was, we had a friendship that had nothing to do with the Titanic, but just as I knew, she had cats, and I had a shelf full of Titanic memorabilia. So one day she announces that she's auditioning for James Cameron's film and needed some help preparing she knew nothing about the Titanic. So I was like, well, let's talk. That's in the documentary, and it's a wonderful yarn, but it was also a wonderful facet to our friendship. And here we are, 4 decades later, still going, and we would still be friends. Yeah, we would still be friends without Titanic, but we wouldn't be the same kind of friends without Titanic, and we wouldn't have had this common project together, and that's a very special connection.
Yes, it really is. And here we are, season 3, chatting all over again about.
And you go on adventures such as a cruise, for example, and every cruise I've gone on over the course of my lifetime, you make a friend. You make a new friend that you end up staying in touch with. You and I went to a film festival together in the late '90s in Niagara Falls, Canada. But you forge friendships through events like that. I was just privileged to be invited on the maiden voyage of Cunard's new ocean liner, the Queen Anne. And when I had booked the job, I got the email from my manager and like, what's your availability? And can you do this cruise? And I thought, oh, well, they must want me to sing. I'll get my charts right away. Maybe I'll do a little Tony Bennett. But they're like, no, we don't want you to sing. I'm like, well, then surely you must want me to talk about the Titanic. And they're like, oh, no, don't want to jinx it, maiden voyage and all. Well, what am I going to do? They're like, oh, we just want you, 30 years as a morning television presenter. They're like, we want you to talk about your entertainment career. And I thought, well, I can talk about anything for any length of time, so I guess we can do that. And one gig turned into 2 gigs, turns into like, I might be spending my retirement this way, and it's a perfectly enjoyable way to do it. So you never know where opportunity will arise. I often quote Lee Grant, the actress Lee Grant, whose autobiography was called Say Yes. And if you just say yes to things that you might at first not say yes to, a whole world of possibility can open up.
I like that. I really like that. I think we're going to be saying yes a lot this year. Did you even touch on the maiden voyage? Touch on your?
Well, I did. Well, I told them I have a new book coming out about the Titanic. But that in itself would not, I'm sure, as much as I could have conceived my own Titanic story based on the experiences I discuss in your documentary, it was through this network of Titanic Talk that led me to
people find you. Yes, people find
do this new book, and the new book is called Kindred Spirits: A Titanic Tale. And
I'm so excited for that. I know some of the bits that are in it.
the Titaniacs make guest appearances. When you read the book, you will see cameos from some of our collection of friends and colleagues, but also a few colleagues gave me endorsements for the book. Ship of Dreams, of course, is lovingly mentioned in the book. I'm very honored that our former guest, Greg DiNapoli, produced incredible artwork for the cover. Paul Carganilla, who has gone on to create his own Titanic podcast as well, wrote the foreword. So yeah, it is more than ever a family. And we'll be launching, we'll talk about the book on some future podcast, but we're launching the book, not surprisingly, in time for the Titanic anniversary in April. And we will have, I'm still hoping I can twist your arm, or that circumstances will enable you, Alexandra, to join us.
Chickens and pugs. Chickens.
Yes, well, you've got Cluckingham Palace there outside your door. But we're looking forward to Paul Carganilla, Greg DiNapoli, Judy and Ellen will be there. I'll be there.
Don Lynch, I believe he'll be there.
I believe the esteemed, venerated Don Lynch will be there. On board the Queen Mary, the original Queen Mary, which is now permanently docked in Long Beach, California. It's a hotel, it's a nightclub, and where better to celebrate the Titanic anniversary there. So yeah, there's a shout out. Paul's put the whole thing together, which is quite amazing. So that's a shout out to Titanic weekend. Right before the anniversary. The anniversary falls in the middle of the week.
Anybody can go and be part of the people who are going to be speaking about their books or their experience. I mean, it's a true Titanic fans or enthusiasts weekend.
I can't wait. I've been to the Queen Mary before. I've shot stories on the Queen Mary before. My favorite movie of all time, The Poseidon Adventure. The exteriors for that were filmed on board the Queen Mary. So it's an important place to me, but I've never stayed there. And it is a hotel. And for Titanic weekend, we'll be staying on the ship. I'm pretty sure the website is titanicweekend.com if people want to come aboard and celebrate.
In collaboration with the Titanic Book Club. So that's another word to, Google it with.
All these tentacles that spread out and wrap us in. So yeah, that's pretty special. And I don't know. I'd be curious to find out from people how if they celebrate, maybe celebrate's not the word, commemorate the anniversary, and if so, what their plans will be. But I think that's a pretty unique way to do it. And then I'm going to follow it up. I'm going to go to Los Angeles, and I'm going to do a book signing at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills on the actual anniversary. They were kind enough to suggest that I could do it there. So if you're in Los Angeles, April 15th, I'll be there.
Fantastic.
So much going on, and we won't reveal any of our future season 3 guests, but we're lining them up now and having fun doing
it's
so.
Events. There's some events that we want to cover, and they might not be a guest. Teaser. They might be literary. They might be event worthy. They might be perfectly travel orientated. So we don't want to spoil it for anyone yet, because.
Well, we also don't want to
have all the details, to be honest.
Yeah, and nor do we want to set up the expectations, because previously we were rolling out new episodes every 2 weeks, and it won't be that way now. We're going to be a little just more lackadaisical in how we approach this. We'll make episodes as situations warrant. We will make episodes. And if you think you have a Titanic idea out there, audience, get in touch with us and let us know. That's some of our most fascinating.
A little more than just a fan, maybe a specialized
a niche.
That's one. Something that you haven't heard yet us talk about, because I'd love to find something new. Plum new.
Yes. That's the filmmaker in you. You want the pitch. Write us, send us the elevator pitch. Give us why you think you should be on Titanic Talk, and maybe it'll happen.
Yes. Well, I'll see you on the next one, Nelson. Thank you so much.
I can't wait.
And
It's fun to be
please
back.
let us know, like and comment on Amazon.com if you love our film, because that brings more eyeballs to the page and more people to see the film.
Yes, can't wait for more. Alexandra will have all the notes posted here so you can see Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries. Love you, dear.
Love you too. Bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review. And if you'd like to hear more podcasts like this, hit the subscribe button. For information on where you can see Ship of Dreams, Titanic Movie Diaries, go to shipofdreamsfilm.com. Titanic Talk is a production of Ship of Dreams Film Limited. We've launched a line of Titanic Talk merch. A cap, a mug, a tote, a t-shirt or a hoodie. You'll be sure to find a unique gift for the Titaniac in your life. Look for the link in the notes and on Instagram, or go to bit.ly/Titanic Talk Shop.